So the city of Chicago cares. Okay, your alderman cares. Obviously, he's putting this on. All right. And I bet we can think of some organizations out there that care about greening Chicago, not just the city, but the Pollyanna cares. Hey, that can compel somebody to work even harder if they know that, they respect and trust and love Pollyanna and they want to do something good. So that's a great one. So Pollyanna cares. All right. And so those are the constituents, right? And they're your allies. They can help you out with funds at sometimes. You can apply for grants for things. You can get information. You can get resources. These are the people you can look to for your allies. There's always going to be some opponents. Well, first of all, we haven't mentioned a very big ally that could also be an opponent. So let's just put it out there.
Landlord?
Yep. Landlord. A landlord doesn't want to invest in the money. It depends on what kind of a relationship you have with them, what kind of a building they run, and how well they take care of it, right? There are some that don't take care of them very well. And they're there to collect that rent check, but not replace your windows. So your landlord, there's always, landlords also hire people. Property management companies, the owners or the landlords are not always actually the ones that have a day-to-day investment in it, and so that property manager has a budget that property manager has to work with also. So that's somebody that can either be your ally or your opponent. So, and hopefully through a great education campaign and through coming from a place of working together for a win-win situation, that opponent, if that's what they start off with, ends up as your ally and sees that this is the right thing to do. All right. Who else would be an opponent? BP or something like that, or something like that. That's a bigger picture. I won't go there. But we've got our constituents and our allies and our opponents, right? And so we have to think of a tactic and a technique for dealing with each of them. Okay.
Opponents might be some of the other tenants in the building that don't want to be a part of it.
Thank you. That's a really good point. Yeah. They don't want to, and why might they not want to be a part of it? Let's just take all of that.
Some people resist being a part of a group and being controlled by, they want to be independent.
Want to be independent? Also, what happens sometimes when landlords start investing in real estate and property? What happens to
Rents go up.
rents go up, right? So that's a fear that those opponents are going to have. And that's something that you're going to have to think through and think of solutions to that almost before they come up, so that you have that ready to go and to work with them on. Excellent.
Well, this is unique though, because these kind of investments actually have the potential to lower the operating cost of the building.
This is true.
And keep your landlord viable.
That's right.
I don't know, I have, what kind of a building do you live in?
6 flat, landlord occupied.
Landlord occupied.
And we have a property manager who also lives there too.
Your building would qualify for all 3 the weatherization incentives that I have. So we should be in contact, because if you're serious about approaching your landlord, I'll be happy to come with you. And, beforehand, have all of the information about this, because it really, there's nothing for a landlord to lose.
Yeah, he's actually really good. He's checking my windows today, so.
Oh, is he? That's all right.
So you should definitely put your name on here, and I'll start chatting with you on email about coming and talking to him, about which one he wants, and I'm willing to do the groundwork to, see which one, responds to or processes the applications most quickly.
So that's a great thing. that'll definitely help to make your landlord your ally instead of your opponent when you can lay out the money saving that you can have. And, you know, it's also something nice that he can toot his horn on and like put in his posts when he advertises on Craigslist. This is an energy efficient green apartment. You know, you've got to think about marketing for him or her, you know, to make that, to make it great for them. Some of these may feel, this next one may feel like it's a repeat, but it is a little bit different because it's a specific person. A target is always a person. So, that's always a person. And if you wanted to get your, your boiler or get, energy efficient appliances into your unit, who makes that happen? That would be your target, right? So that's your alderman, or sorry, that's your landlord, right? Or your property manager or the owner. He's your ally, your opponent, but he's also, he's your target. He's the one that you're gonna go to. Now, if you wanted to make a composting on your whole block, something like that, in a community garden, then your target is gonna be your alderman instead. Or it could be, your block, if it's like a block club type of a thing, the president of your block club. So a target is always a person. And as Heather said, they can be your partner, and they should be your partner. So that's where they can be. Seen as. All right, and then the one that takes the most time to figure out is your tactics. And you might want to divide this up into different categories for each of your goals that you want to do. Or if you have more than one target, you might want to divide up those tactics and figure out what to do. So, what would be the first step? What's your first step to getting things done? You've already got a first step, right? You've got an ally, and she's got a first step, which is what? What is the first step in getting her unit?
To identify the programs that they would qualify for and approach the landlord about trying them out.
Okay. So the tactic would be to approach the landlord. How do you want to go about doing that, though? Do you want to just decide to go tomorrow and do it?
No.
No? Would you maybe go and knock on those doors of your neighbors?
Yeah, I don't know what would be most effective, what to do first.
You feel like you know your landlord well enough to know how he or she would feel about somebody else coming in and...
I don't know the landlord that well. I know the property manager who lives on site really well.
Mm-hmm.
Not really well, but really well. And I would feel comfortable approaching him to maybe sit down and talk as a part of a longer conversation and other things.
So what if you lived in, how many units is the building that you live in? Big? You in a high rise?
No, I mean, it's not like 60 or 100.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like maybe 30.
30? That's pretty big though. That's got a lot of different views and opinions and a lot of different types of folks in it.
I mean, I've met, but I don't know the people in my stairway.
Oh, is it like a courtyard building where there's like 6 and stuff like that? Is that what are you in, same sort of thing?
It's an 18 unit.
An 18 unit, okay. All right.
But the people, all the rest of the people, I've only been there since last fall,
Mm-hmm.
so the people in the rest of the building I don't know at all.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them on the street and I wouldn't know that.
Right. So maybe for these bigger buildings, is your first tactic would be to throw a barbecue or to have people over for a drink and wine and cheese or
Well,
something.
and my
right?
first tactic would be to do that for my stairway.
For your stairway. That's good thinking. That's exactly right. It's gonna build.
Hoping that maybe
Mhm.
the people in this building are really happy with the landlord,
Mhm.
from what I've heard, and they've been there a long time.
Oh, that's
So
good.
I'm
That's good sign.
assuming that some of the people in my stairway would know other people in the building
Mhm.
that I haven't met or seen yet. So that, anyway, my inclination is to go incrementally.
Incrementally. Well, and that's the way to do it. That's where, Be measured with what you want to do. You might want to try starting with the 6 units that are in your building. You might also just want to try putting out flyers first that aren't inviting anybody to do anything, but it's kind of giving information about these programs that are available or how much they can personally benefit from this, right? If you live in a building where you're paying your own heat, it'd be great to see your energy costs go down. That's a really big motivator. Money is always a big motivator. So putting out a flyer saying, hey, check this out. Look what can be done with just this little bit of work, or with our landlord changing this. So that could be your tactic in your first step, is to do that education campaign and just to flyer the building, right? And then, maybe after that, then it could be meeting, doing a party, and then talking to somebody over in another stairwell and saying, hey, this is what we're doing in this stairwell. It's pretty cool. We're having a really good time and we feel pretty powerful about it. You want to come join us? Involving more people into the fold, okay? Now, what if you get pushback from your landlord? What do we do? Okay, so I'm sorry, I went ahead. You got your group together, you've had a barbecue, you've had wine and cheese, and you're working together and you're like, this is a very, very cool thing that we need to do. I'm really excited about it. What is your tactic then to let your landlord know about it?
I might have invited the landlord.
You might have invited the landlord to the party, okay. That could work too. That would be a great way to do it. You taking my pen, lady?
Oh.
You're sure? Okay, so maybe you invite your landlord to, maybe your landlord lives in Colorado and comes to see, yeah.
Mine doesn't.
Here
That's
does.
unfortunate.
A lot of people do that. Or maybe you're trying to get the composting done on your street and you want to reach out to your alderman. It's a really good thing to do to keep things documented. And so writing a letter and a formal invite and asking though, stating the reason for what you want to do. We're looking into greening up our apartment building, but we want to talk to you about it. We want to talk to you in a small group setting. I'd like to hear back from you in a couple weeks. Tell me what day is good for you. What's good for us is meeting in the evening time because we have 9 to 5 jobs. We hope that works with your schedule. We look forward to working with you in the future. Putting it in writing, kind of giving your proposal and laying out what you want, but saying we're going to ask for this to your face and this is going to happen. And if you have a concern that it's 90 degrees in your apartment, well, there aren't anything in the residential landlord-tenant ordinance that says that it's too hot. It says things that are too cold, right? It should be 68 degrees. But when 68 degrees from 8 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, and then 64 overnight. But you can say, listen, if the residential landlord-tenant ordinance says that it should be at 68 degrees, you're wasting your money pumping it up to 90 degrees, and it's not efficient, and you could kill an old person. So can you stop doing that? But citing the building code stuff and making it so it's better for him financially and it's better for him because you could come after him later. Almost like a little bit of not a threat, but showing that you know the law, you know what the action steps can be, and you know if he's not gonna be cool and help you out, that you can go to other and bigger things. And those are actually other targets that you can have. Like if your landlord isn't receptive to asking for these changes or coming up to code on certain things, then there's people higher than him, and he might not be taking care of the building, and you can go to a building inspector, you can go to get it put in receivership, there are tactics. Those could be targets for bigger and better. But okay, so you've written this letter to your landlord, and you've asked for a face-to-face